You didn't miss anything, Mr. Coffee. I would do a retake anyway. Hey, what's up, everybody? You missed my raspy voice. We've got a new tag, Raspy. Hey, I'm Marge's sister. Alright, before we make the first move, we're gonna get ourselves a coffee. There's a little milk shortage in the house. I can't talk till I have my coffee. So I got just like one tiny bit of milk. It's mostly a little bitter. Alright. Mr. Coffee, good to see you early this morning. Wow, what are you doing up? Do you have a holiday or something? Alright, Sicilian. Serious now. The clock is running. Well, yeah, I keep forgetting there's a time change. Okay. So finally next weekend we catch up to you guys. I'm trying to learn how to play the Najdorf. But instead we face the improved Bowdler. Being a bowler, do you think that has any effect on your Bowdler, Mr. Coffee? But seriously, this isn't a bad move against d6, where I think in most other cases it's not. Do you like playing Plants vs. Zombies? By any chance? You can bowl walnuts? Alright, now, this is not my field of expertise here. Queen e2 is unusual. White usually plays d3 there. And maybe e5, but Queen e2, I'm wondering. So if e5, knight g5, I can't go e5 to shut down his d4. Anyway, it probably wouldn't be a great move. The Queen e2, okay, I guess it doesn't really do anything special. It could even like transpose to a Najdorf or something. I guess c3 d4 is a threat, essentially. I have the possibility of knight takes e4 in some lines, like e6, c3, a6, d4, possibly something like knight takes e4. I don't want to get bowled over by d4, d5 on our bowling theme today. Bowling team. By the way, Mr. Coffee, did you have a bowling team in high school, like Columbine? Just totally weird memory just popped back in my mind, and we had I went to a smallish high school, so we didn't have everything, but not that pretty small, but not small. But anyway, I just thought, just hit me, like, I think there might have been a bowling team, but I, of course, being a big nerd, wasn't that big of a nerd. Alright, d3. Chess club, which is worse, chess or bowling? In terms of nerddom. Probably chess, I guess. Bowling is more popular with the general population. Alright, d3, not what I expected. So then you have to ask yourself, why was it so important for white to play Queen e2? Don't read too much into it. It's just a move. But I'm happy to see d3. It's a quiet move, and it means that white is not going to be playing in an ultra-violent manner. I was mostly concerned about d4. Now we have some questions. I'm overanalyzing this. Bowling is simpler. The highest levels. Well, imagine, you got like a golf level of like physics going on there at some point. Anyway, morning. Yeah, nice to have you here. And discombobulator, which is a hard word to say. Asterix and Obelix. So, I was worried about that happening, but it's not, life-threatening. Oil patterns. Phew. Well, that's beyond me, man. Oil patterns. It sounds like we're talking painting or something. Hey, oil patterns. There's an oil slick on Alley 3. Let's play on that one. I have a question, Mr. Coffee. What about, like, in serious competitive bowling? Are there people, like, sabotaging their opponents and stuff? Like, sneaking oil onto their ball or, doing something crazy like that? It must be crazy sabotage. Spiking their beer at the tournament. Another question that just hit me. Well, I guess like professional bowlers don't drink when they're playing. Does anybody drink when they play? They bowl professionally? Is it allowed? But it's not like bowling PBA players don't drink and it's not allowed. Serious. It might enhance performance. Never really read any stories about bowling in the news. But Alice Lee was in NPR. Speaking of sporting news, winning the Sinkfield Women's or something. I mean, it's ridiculous. The Sinkfield has his own private tournaments, and that becomes a title. Maybe this is an old story. I don't know. It just popped up on my phone feed. But it's like, I'm sorry, the Sinkfield's created tournaments are not a national title. Somebody has to break that news to people and NPR. Tournaments created by billionaire Rex Sinkfield are not national titles, no matter how badly he wants them to be. I'm sorry. That's not a national title. This is what NPR was like. 14-year-old girl wins national title. Bullshit. It's a tournament created by a freaking billionaire. It's not a national title. They just paid to like subvert US chess completely. There is no such thing as the United States Chess Federation anymore. It's just been totally hijacked by that idiot. But a lot of people just sit by while that happens. Oh, anything, whatever. As long as he's paying us. He bought the U.S. Chess Federation, basically. That's what he did. But you still can't just make your private tournaments national titles. Yeah, I don't know if he gives a lot of money to U.S. Chess or not. I would have no idea. Do you really know that that's the case? Is that just something that kind of gets like out there? He gives most of his money to Ashley Madison. He has a premium account. D4. I wonder how his wife felt about his Ashley Madison account. That's an old news story, huh? Pretty good game here by Discombobulator. I like D4. Very solid. I'm trying to keep the tension. It's tense in here. Where's Acerbate? Monday morning he's usually late. Alright. This is not a joke. That's a hot diagonal. I gotta be careful about that. He can also trade white square bishops. It would be kind of cowardly, but solid to play like bishop e4. You know, one thing that's really going to come back to haunt white is this pushing of a5. I mean, it could come back to haunt him. That certainly wasn't oblige. There was another game I had recently where someone did that in the London, you know, like, why push a5? I didn't really mention it at the time because I'm half asleep still. But honestly, a lot of similarity with London here. Speaking of kicking the bucket, what a pleasant thought. The older I get, the more I think about kicking the bucket. There was this article today in my phone feed that was like this Italian guy who's like, I don't know, 70, said he plans on living to like 120 or something like that. The secret to living longer is eating less. I mean, this seriously, I'm surprised that Noel Studer hasn't already like posted like a clickbait chess blog about that. Maybe eating less is also the secret to becoming like a strong player. Puzzles, eating less, and reading, you know, online chess blogs, and you're automatically a grandmaster. 3 easy steps to becoming a grandmaster. And living to 100. That should be his next one. Becoming a grandmaster and living to 100. Huh. Bishop e4. Not what I expected there. The shelf. Did I miss that move? Not yet. But soon. Forkington. I got mated. Oh my god. Alright. That's embarrassing. That's why he's the discombobulator, X. I've been exploited. It's Monday morning. I take full responsibility for this. Damn, I get it now. Discombobulator X. You tricked me. I couldn't resist. My internal, oh my god. That's so embarrassing. Yeah. Wow. I'm thinking about, you know, more important things like my structure, how I'm going to defend the c5 pawn. I should play h6. Actually, after h6, he's... Truthfully, like, bishop e4 probably wasn't a good move. I just couldn't resist. It's not fair to challenge me on Monday morning. It's not fair to challenge me on Monday morning. I mean, I really couldn't do a puzzle to save my life. That is embarrassing, though. I really... It's not like I don't have a sense of danger in general, but I mean, it was protected. This was an afterthought. I was actually going to play bishop takes bishop, I think, at first. That's actually a problem, though. If I play bishop takes bishop, knight takes... I have to play another move like h6. h6 is fine. And then bishop takes bishop. It was basically a weird cheapo that works against really bad players and me. h6, bishop takes b7, queen b7, and knight f3 back. And it's like a little better for black. You think, oh, you're an international master, you never hang mate in one. The worst mate I ever dropped was a 1700 player where I was playing in a blitz tournament, and he mated me with like knight on h6, bishop on f6. But this is my most embarrassing mate in a long time, probably, but of course it happened Monday morning. Talking about kicking the bucket. Damn. Yeah, he played a perfect game. 2 inaccuracies. White is slightly worse. Bishop b4 is a weird move, that's the other thing. Why, by the way, why would you play bishop e4? Why wouldn't you play knight e4? It's like a better version of the same thing. But maybe bishop e4 is more attractive. That's what really got me. But knight e4 looks legitimately strong. Okay, if knight e4, I take with the bishop, and you take with the bishop, and I just move my other rook. I'm fine here. Yeah, the computer says knight e4. Then I have to play bishop takes, and then you can take back either way, and black has a tiny advantage. What the heck was queen e2? Is this a real move? It is. It prevents ideas of knight takes e4, but I mean, why play queen e2 and then d3? So this doesn't make sense. If you're going to play queen e2, there should be an independent reason why you're playing queen e2. Then this is the independent reason. But after a6, you reacted very passively with d3. It's like whirl attack in the Lopez. When you play queen e2, you're not necessarily intending to play d3, So you're supposed to play bishop b3 with the idea of d4. You're also sidestepping knight takes e4. You prevented it, though. But it boils down to, what's the point of queen e2 if you're going to play d3 anyway? It's not a terrible move, but it doesn't have any independent significance, and it may waste time. So I would be a little bit skeptical of that move order for you. I don't think that's right, and it's a coincidence that white won 2 games here. Do I have better? Well, everyone else played bishop e7, but I thought a6 makes more sense because I'm threatening knight takes e4 potentially. But I guess this is good too. What am I doing on d4? cd4, it's Plot Navarra. cd4, cd4, and then they just go d5. But maybe black is releasing the tension here too quickly. cd4, what else are you going to do? cd4, d5 is not forced. I kind of like my move, though, to be honest. I kind of like my a6. This wasn't really played by anyone great, except for arguably Volker Dinstuhl. No. It was played by Lev Gutman, is pretty good. Anyway, all right. I'm embarrassed. I hung a mate. Legendary I am hangs mate in 1. I mean, that's meant to be kind of like true, but also facetious. All right, not the Sun Prism. Juicebox Wizard. Why couldn't you have gotten the gift sub yesterday instead of that guy who like seems like he's cheating every simul game? You're never here, that's why. Juicebox Wizard, what's up? Never here. I don't. My stream doesn't bode well for Asian time zones. E4, E6. God, I hate this opening. The French defense. My stream not designed for Asian viewers. Well, Mondays and Fridays. So you can do Fridays. You should be here on Fridays too. How have I been? I just dropped mate in 1. I don't know, my life is bipolar. I might be bipolar. But I'm not sure on that diagnosis. I don't know. I don't think so. I think we all have our issues. I'm okay. I'm okay. You know, I shouldn't complain. Can't complain. That's what Astrobate always says. Can't complain. I should start saying that. Can't complain. I just now take it in stride when I drop mate in 1. I don't think that's a good sign. I was reading this article about people who take antidepressants having like lower sex drive. What am I doing here? Is this movie even right? No, I fucked up again. And I'm not talking about sex drive, but in my case, I'm talking about like just, you know, like lower intensity. I feel like two years ago I started taking antidepressants again, and I feel like, you know, while it helps with certain things, like I don't have anxiety, it also lowers my fighting intensity, and it turns me into a vegetable. I take like a low dosage of antidepressants, and everybody takes antidepressants, you know, and I've taken them before, but and I'm not taking them for depression, but I found that it something is messing with my like intensity, and it's like I'm paying this price to, it's like you're plugging a hole and another hole pops up, you know. You fix one thing and then so another thing, like, you know, starts spouting water. You're just sticking your finger in one hole and another hole is opening up. So I'm pushing away the anxiety, but I'm making myself like a zombie. I can't, you know, I wake up at like 12. This is very similar to my game with Morales yesterday. Okay, my whole schedule is very late. It's not just that I'm depressed or something. I played a 13-hour poker session on Saturday night, then slept 7 hours, and then did a 25-board simul, then slept 8 hours and woke up this morning. But I think I'm just, life is tough, man. What's up? For years and years I didn't take any kind of medication, basically, and then restarted taking antidepressants after, like, I don't know. I was taking one medication, alcohol. But yeah, it's tough. Life is tough. Then you die. Methylphenidol. Methylphenidat? What is that? What is that? What is that? It's for ADD. Okay. So this is an interesting concept. Yeah. Yeah, this is an interesting concept. Yeah, these things are all... Yeah, they're all interrelated. Yeah, you don't want to be like groggy. You know what I mean? Normally I never notice that as a side effect with antidepressants, but... hanging a mate in one is not a good sign. Sun Prism. Where's my light square bishop? Yeah, you, unlike Morales, you didn't play h6 and Castle Kingside too early here. I like your move order better than Morales' game yesterday, where he got into a very bad situation in this line. One thing I'm thinking about is sacking a pawn with h4. I wish I had more time. Screw it, you know. Oh, I hung a pawn. Oops. I guess when you're fearless. After I lose a game like dropping me, you just took it without even thinking. It's like, dude, did your mom tell you, to be careful when you go out trick-or-treating? Jesus, dude. Don't eat the poison apple or anything. He didn't even think about it for like 5 seconds. Doesn't pay attention. Speaking of... Wow. Unbelievable. I don't know what to do first. This is like Halloween, literally Halloween. I'm the one who got the candy. You think you got candy, but I got candy. It's unbelievable. Rook d1 or f4, I don't know where to start. I like this pawn sack, man. I just wish I had more time. Probably having no oxygen in the room doesn't help. My lack of acuity either. Can't open the goddamn windows because there's so much street noise. Immediately some asshole like slamming his car door. The first thing I get when I open the window. It's depressing. It's really depressing. I'm serious. And the a3 f8 diagonal is overrated. Fuck this guy, man. Seriously. This is why I'm moving. You guys think I'm crazy, but I'm not. I literally didn't open the window since yesterday afternoon because the sound outside is so freaking annoying. I opened the window because there's no oxygen in the room, and there's this guy and his wife like both slamming their car doors, switching from car to car, from one side of the street to the other. It's not just one; it's like both. And I'm not. I thought, okay, maybe I'm bipolar. Jesus Christ, these people are just like, nobody cares, They're like, they would never conceive of the fact that slamming their car door in a residential area is annoying to the residents. They must have slammed the car doors like fucking 8 times already. Like moving bags back and forth or something. I don't know what they're doing. That's the 9th time. There's a town where many people get a fine for slamming doors. It's a city. I mean, I can't really complain. I never had this problem though. Anywhere I lived, anywhere I lived, in Boston or in Budapest, because I never lived where my window was so close to the street. Always in Boston, the property was maybe set back from the street slightly, or I was on a higher floor. And in here in Budapest, I've always never slept or had a room right next to the street. Maybe I think in my other apartment in Budapest, there wasn't parking on. It's really important there's parking like right outside my window. The other street, I think there was no parking on our side where I lived. So this is really the first time I've ever had a living arrangement where my window is like right. How can they enforce that? It's Germany, Arsenal fan. They have informants and stuff from the old days. No, I'm not interested in F5. That's just a diversion. Damn it, he stopped knight a4. It was a diversion. Now maybe I wish I had. Yeah, I had F5 and I still do. Good idea, Arsenal. Thanks for the spoiler. This isn't going to work. Is it? I don't know, man. Arsenal, you're bad influence. Now, you made me do this. Am I in Germany now? Everybody's confused around here. Arsenal made me do it. That'll be my excuse when I go to court. Arsenal made me do it. I have no time. I wonder how old Sung Prism is. He behaves and chats in a mature way, but I think he's like 12 years old. $18? Okay, that makes sense. It makes sense, but he doesn't listen to me, you know? Chess addiction is a very tough thing. I mean, like, blitz addiction. Yeah, even 35-year-olds don't listen to me. Are you that young? I thought you were like 45 by now. You were like 35 when you started watching the stream. I don't know, it's Monday morning. I hung mate in 1 and now I'm 3 minutes behind on game 2. I'm just not sharp. I have good ideas though, you know. I'm more of an idea guy. But I focus more on coaching than playing these days, so maybe that's why I'm so slow and I'm losing rating points. Yeah, I have good ideas. F5, man, that was deep. No, my pawn sack was the idea, the concept. The original pawn sack was a fantastic idea by me. And Sun Prism respects my game so much that he instantly took it without thinking. That's cool. Inspired by Pavel yesterday. Different pawn sack, but okay, if you say so. No, the Chok Opa is here. We have a good following in Germany. But in the UK, Germany and the UK well represented. And Cambodia is here today. One American, only because of the 1 hour time swing. Wow, G5 is a horrific move. It's horrific. It's horrific. And horrific. Jesus Christ, should I just resign? Oh man. I'm just so tempted, but I know I shouldn't do it. Arsenal would have ripped that knight instantly, sacking the exchange. Addiction. Addiction is strong. Do you burn bridges much? Training with Arsenal fan. Man, I'm gonna lose on time. God damn it. I'm not trying to criticize Sun Prism's play overall. I think his play overall is okay. The only thing I'm criticizing is his methodology, you know. Not using time. When you have time to use, and relying too much on clock pressure when it's an increment time control is, well, he's been training with Arsenal fan or something. I mean, Jesus Christ. You're like clones. Dude, I had a lot of moves, Arsenal. I had a lot of moves. But how the heck would I decide what move to play in 9 seconds? Or thoughtfully decide what move to play? I'm at the point now where I left myself with no time to think, which is the problem with my time management. The opposite problem. I use too much time, whereas most of my opponents don't use enough. So, pick your poison. At least I'm not a hypocrite, you know? I'm telling everybody to use your time, use your time, use your time. Then I do the opposite and don't use enough time. But it's a much less common problem. Plus I have some kind of psychological illness. Clearly. I don't know if I have ADD, I'm bipolar, depressed, or just normal. No one can figure it out. We're just getting old. I had good sleep last night. I had great brain fog. Great dreams. REM sleep. Saturday night, Sunday night, I had no REM sleep, so I didn't feel that refreshed when I woke up in the morning. Last night I had REM sleep, but I still have brain fog. Whoa. What is going on here? See, now he's pulling an Arsenal. He got excited because he had more time. Is this even helping me? Do I even want that bishop? Where's my rook gonna go? Hey, how's your king position? He's gonna lose this. I need to win a game. Thank you for letting me win a game, because really I was getting kind of suicidal. If I lost again, it was a mouse slip. Well, at least you had that move. Just think of it this way. You made an old man feel good about himself. Better. I don't know, though. It's still a little sketch. It's still a little sketch. That was a weird choice. I thought he was going to go the other way. Speaking of weird choices, maybe G4 would be a... Damn it, he saw that. You're a genius. All right. No, I feel like I have brain fog. And that's my excuse now. My new excuse for my poor performance. It might be brain fog. Now what do I do? He has an answer to everything. Oh, it's check. I'm queening with check, bro. My old new excuse. B-Jock is here. Great, great. Now I just want to see one thing. My wonderful pawn sacrifice here. Because Stockfish is pretty good about finding, material sacrifices for the initiative. Positional ones, like exchange sacks. How does it feel about H4? It likes H4, but it's not a top 5 move, basically. But Sun Prism took this pawn instantaneously, and it's the best move. It's like, the computer's just like, I still think you should think about it, at least for a second, but okay. He was... Yeah, this is my second win with this line. Alright, Arsenal. Arsenal. You didn't think at all. That's not thinking, Sun Prism. That's just reacting. It doesn't really qualify as thinking. Gut reactions don't qualify as thinking. I'm just saying, That's what I'm trying to get through to people. You think you thought. I think I thought. You think you thought, but you didn't think. You know what I mean? You're just going with your gut reaction. It's not really the same as thinking. I know, right? I think you can. Yesterday somebody played the Italian against me and I played knight a5 and they just resigned. After offering a draw. I played knight a5 and they resigned. Good job. So it's not the oxygen. The coffee might start to kick in at some point. I wake up really slowly. It takes me hours to wake up. This is what I'm talking about. Oh no, not the Marshall again. Alright, fine. There's something wrong with our move order here. What are we doing? Speaking of, Arsenal is like Sun Prism's personal trainer or something. His inspiration. He's learned more from Arsenal than from me. They are very similar. Sort of time-wise, approach-wise. Arsenal is a teenager, basically. Some people just never evolve beyond the teenager level. And teenagers can be good, obviously, but no, yesterday we had a game in the line that was a ended up being a boring draw, Bijak. But I played a bad move. Yeah, but even like maybe even before that I can improve. This is suspicious that he's thinking here. He's not really thinking, he went to the loo. The good thing about the Arsenal Sun Prism Bijak mode of time management is that you have extra time to go to the loo during your blitz games and rapid games. You never have a problem like with that. You never get caught with your pants down, so to speak, at the board. So the main move is like Queen H4, but this Bishop F5. Okay, so I played Knight D2 yesterday, and the book, in the opening book, it was like Queen F3. And how does it go again? Queen F3, Queen H4. Queen F3, Queen H4, G3. How does that work? Queen H3? Why don't I remember this line ever? I guess because I always did this sort of Knight D2 thing. Okay, let's try it again. But I'll play another move on Bishop takes D3. So Knight E4 was my original idea, but it has some kind of problem with obvious things. So what about here? I can come up with some improvement. Unfortunately, Queen H5, Knight F4. So the engine said either Knight F3 or Knight F1. The engine said. Engines. Knight F3 was the main move, or Knight F1? I can't remember. I have like people with like tuberculosis outside my window now. I'm easily distracted. Not a good sign. The best thing to do is just avoid the marshal, I think objectively. It should just be avoided. D4 doesn't make sense. What? D4 instead of Knight D2? No, I'm not playing D3 so I can play D4 Bangtown. If I was going to do that, I would just play D4 in the first place. Seriously. Yeah. What is it? What is about my position? No development. Bishop G5 seems logical. Then he goes Queen C7 though. Maybe I should take his knight on D5 and just resign or something. No, this may be a mistake, but I don't know. I'm forcing him to play Queen C7. And then if Bishop H4, Knight F4, he's coming into the zone of power. Queen D7 is strange. Why so D7? Why not C7? Why D7? He's hoping for knight e5. It was like a cheapo. They trying to bait me into knight e5 or something? Would that work? I mean, queen e7 is not that bad. I'm just saying, like, I think c7 gave me less options because my h2 pawn is attacked. You subscribed. All right. Why did we get a notification? We didn't get a notification. You did like secret subscribing. Juicebox Wizard secretly subscribed. Or maybe it's just like delayed. Cambodian subscribers they have to be verified. It takes a while. Now he played queen c7. Okay, Arsenal doesn't necessarily listen to the stream while he's playing, which is important to remember. Arsenal doesn't necessarily subscribe to my advice. Oh man, you see, it's like Sung Prism. Dude, seriously? You guys are remarkably similar. Wow. But I mean, my question would be, is it materialism or materialism? Is it materialism or just like you don't respect my game, like I hung my h2 pawn? Can I go next? Bijak the Demanding voted most likely to ask if he could go next. I don't think my king is going to be useful on the H file anyway. What? Oh my god, no. I walked into this. Oh my god. Alright. So if I get to h1, he's just going to take back with the f pawn. No, it was a huge mistake to go to f1. But single most important reason is that he can now use the g3 square for his bishop, among other things. Things can go to g3 that formerly couldn't go to g3. That was a serious mistake by me, putting my king on f1. God, this is so sick. Here's g3. Rook e2. I just intuitively always choose the wrong move. I'm like, I'll go to f1. I'm so sure he's going to take with the h pawn. Dude, you don't even get advertisements here. You don't have some kind of ad blocker? Well, I guess he wouldn't know what kind of ads to put on for Cambodia. Wet Animal Market. I think the oxygen of opening the window helped a little bit, and coffee definitely helped. But I'm still like handicapped. My brain is just totally like not even functioning. Do I have any tactics? Bishop takes h6, something. Something. The problem is... What is the problem again? I don't know, Bijak. I should have considered, like... I just was being superficial. I'm also assuming my opponent will play the safer move, you know, which was a big mistake. And I'm not even sure it was the safer move, objectively. The optically safer move. But I didn't have time to really think it through. Well, at least he has no control over the h1 square. Now, who controls the center? Who controls the controllers? Karyakin might like this position, or someone like that. I thought I had nothing, but now I'm beginning to wonder. Hey, I wonder if rook e8 was a mistake. He could have... No, he had to stay on the back rank. He had to. This is kind of funny. Suddenly, it looks like black is in trouble. You don't say. You had that move. Waremaster? Werewolf. Saw the check too. Werewolf. Now, it's only time. Arsenal's known for a sense of danger and never being overconfident. What's Queen C4? That's tricky. That seems like some kind of trap. It smells like a trap, but I don't see it. He's just attacking my pawn on a2. Don't. Yeah, I shouldn't like read that. I shouldn't read that far into it. Your queen is pretty out of play at a2. Damn, that's extremely out of play. Wow, this is sick. I think I have bishop f6. Oof. Serious oofdom. Rook g8 looks like your only move, bro. Wow. What an escape from the clutches of Arsenal fan. Now, the A3 guy for my simul definitely wouldn't have lost that game. Too optimistic. Exactly. That's the enemy. Know thy enemy. It's my enemy as well. This guy's trying to be raided. No raided. Schumacher has to go next because he has stuff to do. Bijak, come on. Seriously. I didn't see Queen H6, mate. I was trying to lure him into it. What do you think? He's like, Rook G8, Queen H6. Of course it is. Now that I'm starting to wake up, you know. Engine says what? Queen F7 was only move. Oh, I missed that. It sort of defeats the purpose of what you're trying to do, though. You know, you're trying to attack me. Yeah, my control of the center was like crushing. It was crazy. I had all sorts of threats at the end. I mean, there's no way he can survive. Only because of Bishop E7. Yeah, Bishop E7 was kind of forced. If not Bishop E7, I'm lost. Maybe. Let's do a little Mr. Coffee. Mr. Coffee probably had to go to work already. Alms. There's Mr. Coffee. I'm running out of things to play against him. The first thing, obviously, Arsenal fan, was that I expected Queen C7, not Queen D7. You ended up playing both. But clearly, like, one or the other, not both. Maybe you should just play Queen C7 in the first place. Play like me, but better. Alright, so what's he thinking about here? Aha. The OFC. I think I used to think that, like, when I first saw OFC, it meant, like, oh, for Christ's sake. Always makes me think of KFC. I don't know about Bishop A3. I mean, probably nothing. You know, it's an equal position. In any way, it was equal. And I don't know if anyone actually plays this move. Normal is Bishop E2. Recycling. Do you recycle? Raises interesting questions. But it's never too late to admit you made a mistake. So we have options like Knight C2 or Knight B5 or Queen C1 or even Knight B1, but The b4 pawn sack. Following in my... I don't know about b4 pawn sack. I think that's a little... Speaking of optimistic. b4. My original plan was queen c1. But b4 is still good. Maybe. Yeah, my knight is immobilized. It's in the hospital. As Yasser might say. I should have just played queen c1 probably in the first place. We could do the Capablanca thing here with queen a3. Well, I mean, it's a normal plan. It's a French defense. I'm basically playing the French defense. Queen ends up on the C file about to open. Ends up. There's a that's not the ending to this story. He's just following the yellow brick road. My knight's back in the different hospital now. I mean, I know that I don't have any objective advantage in this position. Uh-oh. Banana Joe. Oh, the shelf. That b4 pawn sack, common in a Tartakover. Which way did he go? So knight b5, bishop a6. Interesting. It's a self-pin. Apocalypse gifted a tier 1 sub community to WV Chess. Thank you, Apocalyptic. Discombobulator. Thank you for checkmating me in one move and not slow rolling it too much. He hesitated, but just a very brief moment when he checkmated me on h7. Don't you hate that when people do that? The worst is like you're playing a card-based game like Hearthstone. Well, poker, obviously, but any kind of card-based game where people slow roll you, I hate that. I mean, I'm just like, I go ballistic if people slow roll me. And it's the same thing in chess. If you have mate in one, just play it. You know, don't like torture the other guy, unless they're a dick. You know, if they've done something to be a dick, okay, they deserve it. You know, you absolutely have free reign to do whatever you want if they behave badly in some way. I like to torture people after they've been a dick, but I appreciate you just like checkmating me and not like gloating about it, you know. He could have like just sat there for like a minute and been like, oh no. He didn't really hesitate, he just checkmated me. Just resign or checkmate me. I mean, no, I mean if people are really badly behaved, then the gloves come off. And I'm as capable of slow rolling people as anyone else. Yeah, I'll do that to people if they're really badly behaved, Bijak. Of course. Then there's no limit to the sadistic torture I can deliver. Wow. Dude, seriously? Pawn takes pawn? Wow. That's the worst move of the day, probably. You know, objectively it's not that bad, but it's kind of like it can't be good. It can't be the right move. Why would you release the tension there? You have a dynamic like dynamic duo in Batman terms. If you trade pawns there, you give away, all of your dynamism. I don't know why. I don't know which way to recapture now, because both are good. Hey, are you accepting rapid challenges? Twinkle Toes. Well, yeah, we've got 40 minutes. And I've got 3 challenges, so, maximum, like, 1 more player. We'll get in the queue. This is a major decision, though, Am I, like, satisfied with an equal position, or do I want to play for more with knight takes against the IQP? I think his idea was to place his knight actively on like c5 or e5. But objectively, I think I'm better here, after this. Okay, my knight on a3 is pretty sick. But, that's a terrible move by Schumacher. And he said before the game, like, can I go first? Because I'm in a hurry. So I'm like the police now. Where are you in a hurry to, son? He's in a hurry to, like, mass exchange on the C file and play for a draw, or what? Hospital knight. C takes D feels like the kind of move you play because you're in a hurry to go to your class. And even though it's not a good move, it'll just lead to exchanges. Now you took away my shelf. This is shelf square. It's very important. B4. You have 95 as well. Alright, so maybe I don't bother with that. The knight can always get back to the game, right? It's not going anywhere. We've got plenty of time to bring our knight back in the game, as they say. Now, here we have a decision. I'm perfectly comfortable with king e2, and that was my plan. But I'm just going to reconsider my options. Keeping that bishop might be worth it. Primarily, it keeps him off of a6. It keeps an eye on his a6 pawn. My king can relocate to d2. Do you think you're better here? Yeah, but it's like, I'm objective about it. It's a slight edge. White is a little bit better. He's not really threatening anything with knight d7. Yeah, I think I'm better. And I've been known to be wrong. But it's a small edge. It's like we turn on the engine, it'll probably say white is better by like 0.3 in this position. And I could be too optimistic with that. Someone might be better, and it's probably me. But it's only a slight advantage. The other possibility was playing b4. I had this for a lot of moves. But it's double-edged, and we can c4. Yeah, no, I think white is a little bit better. But his position is defensible. But I do think that the biggest enemy, wow. That's a very committal move. Sire. The biggest enemy is being overly optimistic for most players. Certainly my biggest enemy, and also Arsenal fans. See, the thing about optimism is that it saves our ass a lot of times when we're losing. If we're already lost, it may be, the characteristic about people that saves our ass. So optimism is a useful trait for people to have because, yeah, well, you get the point. There's a reason why we have that genetic tendency toward I guess, optimism, some people. But it also brings us down a lot of the time. It's certainly the reason why I lose a lot of games. How do you evaluate that when material equality? Well, material is the most overrated, honestly, apocalyptic furniture. Material is the single most overrated, fundamental thing in chess, I think. The most overrated variable in chess. So you need to train yourself to focus more on other aspects of evaluating positions other than material. Material is the most basic or easiest to evaluate. Anybody can add like 2 plus 3, But here we have pawn structure, king position, good bishop versus bad bishop. We learn materialism when we're like in 3rd grade. The first concept about chess that I ever learned, even before I knew the rules properly, we played chess like it was checkers and we're taking the other guy's pieces. That's my first playing with the chess pieces in 3rd grade. I didn't really learn chess properly till I was in 7th grade. Before that, we just, at lunch break, would play chess like it was checkers and capture the other pieces without knowing the object was to checkmate. So, imagine if there was no checkmate. The object was just take the other guy's pieces. Well, then your material becomes the most important factor. On the other hand, material, some people go too far. I have a tendency to go too far sometimes, and I would be overly optimistic about sacrificing material. But it's also the easiest way to beat, let's say, lower rated players. You need a way of tricking people into making mistakes, essentially. The most common mistake is to be overly materialistic. Thus, things like exchange sacrifices, positional sacrifices, positional exchange sacrifice, positional pawn sacrifice. You don't often see like positional piece sacrifices unless you're facing like Yasser or something. Yasser's famous Dutch or whatever, where he like sacked a piece with knight e6. I often wonder how influenced Saruman was by Petrosian. Because he seems to play very similarly in a lot of ways. Why not a4? Because his pawns are all on the wrong color, and playing a4 will let him like trade off some of those pawns. I'm really trying to control the dark squares in the position. No, I think that white is clearly better. I also don't necessarily want to exchange anything, Twinkle Toes. Why should I exchange anything? Including pawns. If you want to win, plus I can play a4 whenever I want to. I don't have to rush with it. I think exchanging one rook is probably fine. I don't really want to exchange both. If I exchange both, the likelihood of a draw is vastly increased here. But I am in time pressure. He's got me, very short of time. Which way do I take back? Really the question there. Whoops. His bishop's horrible. Really horrible. I've been very much playing against that. He's losing his bishop. Oh. All right. Instructive. Alpha Alpha. Cruiser 7. Twinkle Toes. Cruiser 7 doesn't have enough games. Viking Beer is next. This guy's pretty good. I agree. Playing better. I'm playing better. Viking Beer. Better than Hanging Maiden 1. Jude New York City has followed. Gaming Gustav. Apocalyptic, thank you for the gift sub earlier. Most check opening stuff. Well, I don't think your opening was a problem. It wasn't. The opening was okay. Thanks for the game. Didn't lose it in the opening. Solid. Whoa. Okay. D5 might be. It might be unholdable. The cost is high. The cost of D5. Requiring, okay, bishop d2. Maybe bust. Maybe busted. I might be busted. You can hold this. Think. Bishop takes c3, bishop takes c3, pawn takes d5, pawn takes d5, knight takes d5, bishop takes g7. So if I castle, only now I think I'm actually threatening something. That is, bishop takes c3. Bishop takes c3, bishop takes c3, pawn takes pawn. In order to not lose a pawn, he would have to play bishop takes f6. there are pawn sacrifices of this nature, but what is white to do? I mean, I think that d5 is overextending. You know, this is not commonly played. He's gone too far. Stretched out. Imagine you like stretching out, you know, trying to defend that pawn on d5. So, now we're talking about interesting sacrifices of pawn, maybe. Nice move, queen c2 looks good. So now we have some interesting questions. Okay, if bishop takes knight, bishop takes knight, bishop takes bishop rather, pawn takes pawn. You know, you have legit queenside castle type of stuff where you might have enough compensation for a pawn. So say I play bishop takes knight. There's also pawn takes pawn though. Pawn takes pawn, knight takes. I mean, knight takes isn't great. So pawn takes pawn, bishop takes c3, bishop takes, not forced actually, but if he plays bishop takes, I have to take with a knight on d5. Now he really sacked a pawn, and the question is, does he have enough compensation? You know, and I don't think he has quite enough, but I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe I should take with the pawn takes pawn first. I don't think he has quite enough compensation here. We'll see what he does. What about knight g5? I think my move order was bad, first of all, and then there, like even there, like seriously, knight g5 looks a little scary for me. E3. E3 is also not that bad. I mean, if you're a computer, maybe it's nothing, but... So, if I play pawn takes, bishop takes, d5, I block my own bishop, but pawn takes, bishop e4. How do I decide what to play here? You know? Knight e4 is kind of fundamental. But then white has bishop d3. Then knight takes c3, bishop takes h7, check. So on knight e4, bishop e3, I have to defend my e4 guy. Maybe a different move, like rook e8 or queen e7. But it looks dynamic for white. I still think he has some compensation. In fact, maybe pawn takes pawn now. Knight takes, queen takes, bishop takes d5. White has some compensation for the sacrificed pawn. Maybe a computer would laugh at it, but in a practical game... So here we go. You know, do I take on c3? I think most likely it's a good idea. It's a strong piece. But he still has a lead. Well, does he have a lead in development, actually? Maybe a little bit. I'm castled, but the rest of my pieces are all in the back rank. I mean, it's close. Does white have enough compensation for a pawn here? Not quite, but at the same time, like, would Stockfish say white is lost here because he's down a pawn? Like, I don't really think so. I think white is just worse. And ultimately, doesn't have enough compensation for the pawn, but that doesn't mean you're lost. One pawn down isn't necessarily lost. All of my pieces are on the back rank except for my bishop. I mean, and my bishop is going to have to retreat most likely. This is a poor move. I think this is his worst move of the game. Like queen d4, it's not terrible, but he's just attacking a piece that's vulnerable anyway. And putting his queen in a position where it can be attacked in turn. So this seems like a mistake for sure. If I play c6, I can't develop my pieces. Maybe my best bet is like bishop b7. If anyone out there is considering bishop takes f3, you might want to go see a doctor. This bishop is too strong to consider giving it up. If I play bishop takes f3 there, I think white has close to enough compensation, for example. Look, you could play it and still be better, but I think that it's an unnecessary sacrifice. And of course queen h4 is horrendous. He's trading queens when his only chance is to play, you know, for compensation. So queen h4 is the worst thing to do when you're down material trading pieces, especially queens. Not a good idea. However, one of the hardest things to chess is really like consolidating and like converting winning positions. You know, I don't know if a lot of people think about it. Take it for granted, like this is a winning position on a pawn, it's a win. Yeah, I mean, how often do we screw up that? I don't really want him to get his knight to f5 and get it kind of like back in the game. I don't know if it's worth playing g6 or not. Yeah, rook g1. Rook g1 is creative. It's a creative move. Wikipedia Creative Commons. Try to think of a nice thing to say. No. Rook e8, really? Alright. Are we expecting castles queens side? I don't know. I don't know if this is right either. There's a lot of choices now. You have faith I can convert. I have faith I can convert it too, but I'm just like preaching, you know. I'm not saying there's any question about my faith of converting this. Why not pawns on d5 and c5? Well, first of all, the d5 pawn blocks my bishop. Secondly, the d5 pawn isn't protected by a pawn on d5, and so it becomes a liability. And I don't want more liabilities. No, this is a lower, you know, it's a lower maintenance. It's a lower maintenance pawn structure, you know, is what it is. If you want a high maintenance girlfriend, you're going to have to, you know, spend a lot of money, and if you have the lower maintenance one, you can do what you want, you know, more. And I don't have to be tied down to that pawn on d5. d5 and c5 is more dynamic. I mean, you have to change something about the way you play when you're up material, you know. Maybe d5 c5 is good if you're going to be like attacking the guy's king. But I have no need to play for mate or attack this guy, you know. I'm already like winning by a clear pawn. I just need to maintain my position and consolidate. Yeah, but I mean, there's an element of d5 that gives white counterplay. It's not really about faster or slower. It's not like I play d5 and c5 and I'm just going to march my pawn majority down the board and queen a pawn. You know, he has pieces and he has ways to slow it down. I'm not giving my opponent any counterplay. His only idea is like knight f5, sacrificing a piece or something. He can't even move his e-pawn. So it's very hard for white to do anything at all now. He's basically almost completely frozen. I would consider maybe like rook d4, but I don't have a clue. White is almost like literally approaching Zugzwang. Rook g3 has the idea of pushing the f-pawn, I think. My knight is too good. I don't want to give that up now. So rook e5 just encourages crap. Rook e7, f4, rook e8. a4, a3, no. Knight e4 is probably good. Bishop e4 is also interesting. Rook e7. Again, I've got to watch this. He can sacrifice a piece at some point with knight f5. First of all, I'm up a pawn. Secondly, it's increment, so don't worry about the time. And his knight is just sitting on h4. Now he went back. Okay. So now he has a good square for his knight here. I'm more inclined to think about taking that knight now, actually. But I do think it increases his chances of drawing slightly. So his knight is going to be pretty good. His knight is going to be pretty good. I think this is a mistake on some level. But I have no risk of losing. I know what I'm doing. I'm reducing any kind of chances he has to pretty much zero. But I probably increased his chances of drawing. If he was a computer, quite a bit. This is a concession. Bishop takes f3. Now I'm being practical. I know that Juicebox will lose this. He just doesn't have the experience with like defending technical positions that I do, or playing technical positions that I do. A computer will draw this against me. That's, again, it shows a very high sense of creativity by my opponent, but it's probably a mistake. Maybe not, though. Maybe it was a good idea. I like it. b4, king b2. That's not good. That's not good. Yeah, now he's lost. He has 2 pawns down. So he had to play king b2 and then recoup the pawn and be 1 pawn down with chances to hang on. 2 pawns down is lost. There's a big difference between 1 pawn down and 2 pawns down. In most cases, almost all endgames where you're 2 pawns down are lost. That can't be said about 1 pawn down by any stretch. So, King Beer had a creative idea with b4, but the point was to get the pawn back, not to lose a pawn. You actually could have probably won the pawn back by force. I mean, what am I going to do? Like knight a6? Put my knight on a6 to defend the pawn? It's not realistic. I got to admit, man, this is another really nice creative move. I totally missed rook f4. That is a bad surprise that makes winning this hard. But not enough to save White's position. Slowly he will lose. You know, so what do we take away from this game? I mean, like, patience. Patience is important. Putting your pieces and pawns on dark squares when the opponent has a light square bishop. It's also generally a good idea. Yeah, but don't rush. Take your time. This is the number one idea in the most famous endgame book, Shereshevsky, Endgame Strategy, is do not rush, is the main idea. This is a nice idea. Again, the guy has some ideas here. h6 check, that's really annoying, bro. Jesus Christ, that's annoying. I'm gonna get in trouble. Viking Beer has changed a little bit, you know. He's getting stronger, it seems like, than the last time I played him. He's actually gotten stronger. Wow. You assume when you don't see someone for months that they haven't played, they've been inactive. But he actually played quite cagely, you know, and probably this is the best his position has been almost the entire game at this point. He's on the verge of saving the game now. He has h6 check. I don't know what I'm supposed to do after that. I had panicked by taking on h5. But I was concerned about h6 check anyway. I should have done what I did. Damn, I should have done what I did, but done it right away. So h6 king f8. Still not an easy conversion with that pawn sitting on h6. Yeah, it really wasn't a bad game. I mean, sacking the pawn in the opening. No, he's improved a lot. Alright, how much time do we have? I gotta go soon, guys, so alpha. What do we got? Any subscribers? Nobody's a subscriber from these challenges, right? You literally relied on your commentary. Literally relied on my commentary for pawn captures. Yeah, I'm gonna play one more game, guys. I gotta go. Yeah, b4, okay. It's like b3, but more aggressive. More weakening. b3 with more weaknesses. Yeah, I don't know if you played this against me before. I don't remember. I usually play d5. And I usually play bishop g4. I mean, this is my preferred variation. Perfilated. Can I just go here? He doesn't seem phased. Alright. I'm not gonna try for e5. Maybe I should at this point, though. Takes e5. Alright. b4 is hanging. I gave up my white square bishop, but his queenside is very hard to maintain in the long run. You know, he's going to have to cave with, like, the queenside extended pawn. a3, b5. Later he'll have to play, like, look, I played the St. George a lot with black. And you know, at the end of the day, like, you weakened your queenside and you don't really have anything to show for it, you know. He needs time, I guess. But by the time he plays d3, I'll play a5. And this is bad. You know, there's just no reason to play h3 here. So now I put pressure on him. What's he going to do? This is the problem with the extended fianchetto. You have to do something bad now. What are your options? Lose a pawn, sacrifice a pawn, whatever you want to call it. Play c3 and block your bishop, or take and break up your own pawn structure. He should have at least found a way to play, like, c4 and queen b3. So his pawn structure is bad now. I don't want my queen to be out of play. The queen could come here. How big a deal is it? How big a deal is it that his pawn structure is slightly damaged? That was my best game, your best game, second best game against me. Well, I didn't check the final analysis, but I don't know what you've been doing, Juicebox, but I feel like your game has matured a bit since we last played, I would say. Sobriety, you were creative on three different occasions in that game. I thought you played some creative moves. Another way of saying you made blunders. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, c4. Now what do I do? Pawn sack. It's a pawn sack. It's a pawn snack. Well, knight c5 looks pretty damn interesting. But is it good? So his idea with h3 is to, like, prevent my pieces from going to g4 and attacking him over there. But it seems kind of routine. You got the Basman. Basman's opening, like, a3 and h3 on the first two moves. It's not like a panacea. I've given up my bishop for a knight, and it's a serious investment. But there are a lot of cases where that's okay, and I think this is a game where I'm thinking about what I'm doing, rationally. Wow. I have knight a4 now. This looks very strong. If I take... He plays bishop takes d4 and white is probably okay. But this is a different story. Now he has a problem. Well, at least a minor problem. I can play e4. His bishops are really, see, he does have bishop d1. I think I have to go here. He didn't play bishop d1. He didn't even think about it, interestingly. It's kind of an important possibility for white, I would say. The knight on a4 is very invasive. The Acer mate. More fundamental would be like developing my rook here, probably. Wow. I don't know how white's not lost here. Strategically. But he says he knows what he's doing. See, this is what I'm saying, like, knights can be better than bishops. These knights are not kidding around. Knights need outposts. Uh-oh. Oh no. Mr. Coffee, try to keep the foreplay to a minimum here. I had a weird dream last night. I wonder if Mr. Coffee was in my dream. How do you know if someone is a man or a woman on the internet? Well, that sounds like a joke, right? How do you know someone? How can you tell someone's gender on the internet? Video call. Video calling. Be careful, Mr. Coffee. So I was thinking, which bishop do I want to get from my knight? This bishop is a little better than the other bishop. So I'm cool with this. That's an exchange I can do. Where's Asprey? He would love this. He would love this Acer mate. Now how about that bishop? Good bishop, bad bishop? World's ugliest cat? Our opponent is a practical player. See? Wow, dude. He's a practical player. Do you want to predict White's next move? Predict a move. Predict a move, bot. No. Wow. Really? I thought you had to do it. He apparently did not. I thought he had to play g4. This is too desperate. He could have played g4. He might have defensive resources, you know, on the second rank. But clearly, sacrificing a piece is a bit much. So, I mean, I'm thinking, if I go g5, he has to play g4. And his queen comes across and plays a role defensively. Maybe White is lost, but it's not easy. But attacking a piece, come on. Does he realistically have a serious compensation here? You like black sludgy square. How's my sludgy square? Sludgy squares. Testing your spatial relation skills. I don't know. Now let's be careful here. Okay, don't underestimate this character. But I have to be careful. Yeah. Oh no. See, that's the thing. Check only goes so far. Alpha is 2139. That's a serious rating. I mean, he's a high rating. Way above average. It's a fine day at Boeing. The chairman of the board and CEO have been let go. We took the day off to celebrate. Wow. Mutiny. Taking the day off is another way of saying you were let go, right? Speaking of let go. Alright. White is a cheapo artist, it appears. I'm just taking things. Oh, he's setting up Rook F1. This guy is serious. He's a serious cheapo artist. Queen C8, Rook F1. No, I know. I read about the CEO. Yeah, I read a little bit here and there, news and whatnot. Yeah, not. What do you think? Do you think Boeing is a buy? Or time for a fire sale? I'm not allowed to discuss that as an employee at Boeing. Alright. Yeah, what was up with that story where they said, like, people of Alaskan Airlines have been notified that they might have been the victim of a crime? Well, I guess negligence is a crime, right? Criminal negligence would be a crime. Okay, so what's the deal here? This guy is a serious cheapo artist. No, I don't do stock either. Not really. Alpha Zero. Alpha Alpha, no relation to Alpha Zero. I'm financially unlucky and retarded, so That's why I quit studying economics, I guess, years ago. The question is, will Boeing survive this? Is what I'm asking. Because if it will survive it, then maybe you buy while it's low and it comes back. And if they don't survive, you need to have a fire sale now. So essentially the question is, will the company survive its current CEO or former current CEO? Currently former CEO. But they were cutting corners. All right. Anyway, Finbar, thanks for joining us, guys. We got to go. Unfortunately, I have work to do. I'm a quality assurance operator at Boeing, and it's time to get to work. All right, guys. Thanks for the games. I have to go. Unfortunately, I was having fun. We're starting to play a little bit better, but it's time to go to do some serious stuff. Yeah. So tomorrow. Tournament Tuesday. Tourney Tuesday. I'll set up some kind of rapid for us to play tomorrow night at 6:45 p.m. CEST almost, but CEST coming next week. Thank you guys. Bye. Thanks, Mr. Coffee. You're the best.